Ah, it's Halloween! You're here with Mouse and Weens. I was doing a big scary face because I look scary on this video. We're on YouTube, everybody. If you'd like to come over to YouTube, please do. Weens!
Are we going for it right now?
We're here. We're here and we're doing it. I am Mouse. I'm Joelle. I'm the mom one down in San Diego.
And I'm Julianne. I'm Weens. And I'm the single one up in LA in the film business. Hot dog.
That's us. And we are here today to talk about Halloween and kids and what to do about this thing that I'm having an issue with, which is horror movies and scary movies.
For her kids, not for herself.
Right.
This is her children. And when do you show them horror movies? And she has a son that's very interested in them right now. Who's 15.
Toby's 15. He is a sophomore in high school. And come to think of it, I was a sophomore in high school when I saw my first official scary movie. And he really wants to watch all these things he has already.
At his friend's house mostly, right?
Yeah. And
you think?
Yeah, but he also has Netflix on his phone, which we monitor and to a degree.
They check them in at night, right?
Mm-hmm. But, you get lax. You don't check them every single night. You don't look at every single page history every single night. So, dude, this parenting thing is hard. I don't know what I'm doing.
Every parent says that, right?
It's true. Yeah, I feel like anything I do, I'm going to mess up. Oh, you guys know this. If you've heard any of our previous parenting podcasts, this is what I always talk about. Same thing. Anyway, Halloween, I always worry about this because but this kid, Toby, has been, and Elliot too, they both love skeletons as toddlers. They both love ghosts. They both love scary things. They love going to the Halloween store. Oh my gosh, going to Spirit, with all the house decorations out in front. I don't know. It's in their blood, I guess.
It was in my blood too. I remember being at the library in probably first and second grade, and I might have been influenced by the boys, but there were the Mummy and like Boris Karloff Dracula book, and I was obsessed. The Wolfman, and all the boys wanted to check them out. So I might have been trying to be cool, but also they were fascinating to look at the scary faces. And there's something primally interesting about it.
Can you get back to that place though? Why? Why do you think that was interesting to you?
I think because it's so different from the average normal people that we see every day. And then there's this fear element of, could I turn into that? And is this something that's lurking out there? I think we are beings that were once preyed upon. There was a short time when we had the saber-toothed tigers. And
that's right. Yeah, we have an anthropologist, sociologist on our hands here who's studying all this. Well, yeah, you are. So
yeah, but you know that too. I mean, we at one point, and I just think there's a human fear element that we're attracted to, right? With true crime, with serial killers. Why did so many people read Helter Skelter to find out about, I almost said Marilyn Manson. You will not find out much about him in that book.
Ooh, unless we do another podcast, we have a connection.
We do, and we might interview someone who's had some controversial Marilyn Manson stuff going on right now. Me mouth is covered in this video with the pop stopper.
That's all right. Just pop out from behind it every once in a while. Right. So you have this fascination, this attraction to the occult or to the dark. I don't have that. Why?
I mean, mine is light. I don't have it towards horror. I'm scared of horror movies, and although I can watch like that movie Mindhunter we just talked about, actually we'll be meeting someone who's a horror film director Dr. Don Adams, and he'll talk a little bit about this, but movies that are kind of intriguing and thrillers are more interesting. I love Sherlock Holmes growing up. I loved the show Mindhunter because it was done so well by David Fincher recently. Yet the slasher movies aren't as interesting and just blatant throat cuttings and
Yeah, and I don't like any of it. I'm sorry. I don't like anything scary. I don't like jump scares. I don't like the mental stuff, the psychological stuff. I'm not into true crime.
She doesn't like true crime.
I love my podcast pals who are true crime podcasts, but I don't like the genre. I don't know about glorifying real killings. But I know it's a thing, and I know we've talked about this in the past, that it's almost like a way to protect yourself, to see it happen, and to feel like you would know what to do. This can't happen to you because it happened to someone else, in your mind almost. Or by watching the scary things, it lets you, like what we talked about with W. Earl Brown, by seeing it acted out, it makes it a safe thing to confront your fears when you are coming of age and you're realizing your own mortality. By seeing it out there, it makes it more controllable, right? I mean, is that what the thought is?
That was his thought. W. Earl Brown was an actor who was in Deadwood and Scream. I met him on the Scream set, that movie. And so we started talking about horror films because of that. We just interviewed him on the last podcast. Please listen to that. But yeah, that was his take. And then I've had other people say that they love to feel the feeling that they don't often feel, which is the roller coaster fear feeling of being on the edge of your seat. My friend Jennifer Martin from Boston, she says that's what it is. It's the excitement that you wouldn't have in normal life, where you get to go, ah.
Right. Okay.
So it's fun to her, and things don't get, although she saw Midsommar, and she said that was like, actually, that kind of messed her up psychologically.
Ooh, wait, why? What's it about? And how old was she when she saw it?
This is recent.
Oh.
This is one that came out, and a lot of people said it is freaky and it messes with you. And to just what I kind of picked up from it is it's a couple of people, a small group that are just traveling through Europe, and they happen upon this town. I want to say it's Switzerland. Sorry if I'm wrong. And they basically get welcomed into this town and they can't leave. And you can look it up further from there.
Well, yeah. And so I'm trying to figure out what makes me different or whatever. But I guess I had it a little bit. I liked reading horror books in
Anne
high
Rice?
school. I read all the Anne Rice books, all the Stephen King books. So I got mine, I guess, from the books. But that felt so far removed because it's just in your mind what's going on versus seeing it played out on screen, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to understand. And then thinking about my kids. So mine are, did I say this already? 15, 13, and 9. The 15 and 13-year-old are boys. The 9-year-old's a girl. So the boys loved all the scary stuff. But my middle son, the 13-year-old now, was extra jumpy, extra scary, extra sensitive when he was younger, but also extra fascinated. So we would go into these Halloween stores and I would hold him when he was little, and we'd see, the woo skeleton, and he would jolt. He would be in my arms and you could feel his little body like in a little electric jolt shaking, when he would see these things because he was so afraid, worried, just, tuned up to all that. So I wonder.
But he also is fascinated by skeletons
But fascinated by them. Yeah. Loved Darth Maul. That was his favorite character. Loved I forget what skeleton thing he was into. Anyway, but his brother let him see the It trailer way too young. And so for about 2, 3, 4 weeks, he was coming into my bed almost every night and wanting to climb into bed because he would wake up in the middle of the night worried about it. He's 13. He's a little more keyed into the scary stuff, but the 15-year-old, I think, can probably handle it because he's a little more bulletproof.
Correct. So then we brought on my buddy and Joelle's buddy. I know him we've had him on a couple podcasts just doing like fun little side talks. He's really fascinating. I like him a lot, and he's colorful. Don Adams, and he's directed a bunch of horror movies. He's in, and we didn't really talk about it, but I think he's in a couple horror clubs. Oh. And he'll probably get mad at me for saying I don't go to those things, but a couple times I do know he showed up at events where he says there's like a real tight-knit horror club where you see the same people. And so, and he's edited a ton of horror movies.
And you guys are right in the middle of Hollywood, although all of it is happening right there, right? I mean, or the majority, or maybe not. I don't know. Where is the horror capital? I mean, everything's in Hollywood, right?
I would just say, I mean, I'm sure there's, it's the center of a lot of filmmaking. I don't know if there's any side area that's coming out with a bunch of stuff like that, but yes, we are in an entertainment capital of the world, I think.
That's right. All right. So we say his IMDb profile when we
talk about the most current one that is kind of floating around right now is that the guys, riff tracks, the guys from Mystery Science Theater got a hold of one of his horror films, and they did the entire movie where they riff and do the Mystery Science Theater over the top of it. That same vibe.
Okay.
So,
and then look at his editing thing. Guys, just go to IMDb, look up Don Adams, look at all the movies he edited. Now, being an editor of a horror movie, I would think is you have to have a special brain for that, right?
Yeah, because
look at all this.
You have to get. I think it's like comedy where you would have to hit it exactly right, and otherwise it's cheesy, right? Because you have to do the timing of kills. And they all talk about kills. It's so funny. The horror movie guys are like, "Wow, that was a lame kill." Well, that kill was pretty good. Oh, how many kills are?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so let's jump in. We're going to hear Don Adams talk a little bit, and we'll come back and give some commentary. And here we go. Don Adams. Who do we have with us today? Who is this wonderful
Don
man?
Adams is one of the most talented people in the universe. Look at that mug. Look at his left cheek, his right cheek. For the people who are listening, he's gorgeous. He's beautiful. He's drinking iced tea. And he's also the director of Bunker of Blood, Chapter 6, Zombie Lust, Night Flesh. He's also, in 2010, you had Dozers. I know you.
I've never heard of the first movie she said.
Well, you directed it.
Where did you get those from? Those aren't my movies.
No, this is IMDb.
Yeah, no, I'm a Bunker of Blood. What the hell is that?
Well, I think you directed it. Were you drunk?
No, I Bunker of Blood. I don't know what that is.
Well, maybe there's
It's not like I'm Steven Spielberg, you know.
Well, okay, so you made Dozers, I know, because that's on your list. So yes. That at least is legit. Jigsaw, you have anything to do with that?
Yeah.
Okay, he directed Jigsaw, ladies and gentlemen, horror film, Vengeance of the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay,
which is just done by Riff Tracks. What an honor.
So tell us about that, because I didn't even know about Riff Tracks before that, but that was freaking awesome.
Well, they don't tell you or nothing. You know, they just buy it from whoever owns it. I don't own my movies. You know, I don't get a penny. And so, yeah, it just showed up. It was really cool because those are the Mystery Science Theater guys.
And it was
without the little robot. Because you know how it is when you have a TV show and you leave, they own the show. You don't get to take your stuff with you. Except somehow Letterman did. I don't know how.
Really?
He took the top 10 list and all that. Normally you don't. You know, they own it. And then you have to be somebody else. So
maybe he did a George Lucas and protected everything really early.
They're them, but yeah. But that's like a 25-year-old movie.
Got it. So you directed a lot of movies. One of them was just done by Riff Tracks. We should check it out. Which was that last one, right? What's the title?
Yes.
Vengeance of the Dead, all shot in Wisconsin. And you're an editor, and you're an amazing human, and you're a video file, and a movie file, and a music file. And what was the conversation that inspired bringing on the famous Don Adams?
Yes, the boys are interested in horror movies, and much to my chagrin, I found out that they've already seen a couple without telling me.
Like a lot.
Well, I don't know how many. Yeah, they're not being forthcoming about it. But, you know, and then Julianne's going, well, what's the big problem? And I'm saying, I don't know how this is going to psychologically affect them because I was super scared of all this stuff. And I didn't see my first horror movie until I was 16. And I mean, it just stuck with me. And
oh boy, that Frankenstein, that was a frightening. No.
Yeah, right. I know that old folks.
We were very insulated too from horror from your lover Joyce Carter, our mother. Dawn's in love with our mom, by the way. We just have to.
Oh, that woman. Let's do an episode about me talking about her.
Oh God, you're like all my high school buddies. It's creepy. It's our mom, dude.
Have there been, God forbid, have there been any accidents around the farm?
No.
Is your mom single yet again? Just keep me posted if there's any collapsing barns or twisters or, you know.
Oh my God.
He's serious.
I love it. So anyway, so that was my idea, was to get you on because you are a expert in the horror genre. And what are your thoughts about, well, how old were you when you saw your first horror movie?
2.
All of this.
I'm doing this Zoom thing. Oh yeah, you got pizza?
Where's the stepping stool at?
I think it's by the shelf.
I hear a young voice. You are very well equipped to answer this question.
That's his
Who is
nephew,
that?
Ethan.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, and this is a good, it plays into this topic because I'm a little disappointed that he's not really into horror movies.
Aha.
Because you tried to get him in, he went to Phantasm when he was super young, right? That's your favorite? Or what was the first?
Well, I mean, I think the root of this question is like all kids are. I mean, I didn't know your kids were like 15 and 14. I think at that point you should be happy they're not out jacking cars, right?
I suppose.
Shooting people in the face, right? I mean, and you're worried about them watching like Friday the 13th.
Really? Well, tell me, because I guess I live in a bubble. I didn't know I did, but yeah, tell me.
I didn't like horror until like middle school, I would say. But I grew up right when all those things hit, like Star Wars and stuff. So there was all kinds of other stuff going on. There still is now. I mean, but also the 80s, as you guys know, right? That was the best era of horror movies.
Well,
like,
Texas Chainsaw was 70s, right? What about John Carpenter Halloween? And
yeah, that was like, well, he was like 70s and 80s, but all that whole era from like early 70s to mid 80s was just gold, like movie after movie. You know, it was great.
So why was that? What was the scene back then? I mean, I know we were younger, but
you know, stuff just makes money. But no, it was all over the place, right? Because there was all kinds of horror everywhere, you know. And then it retreated, and then the horror section just became like a spice rack, overstuffed with Stephen King and nothing else.
yeah.
But it used to be like, you know, it used to be all over the place. Like there was nothing but Satan on TV in the 70s. God bless him. And then I always wondered about this. Like him and God kind of went away, like John Travolta, for a while, and then they both did come back, you know, like in the 21st century. And now there's like exorcism movies again, and you know, positive bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time there wasn't. There was like, what? And then all of a sudden now, like, you know, there's an exorcist movie like every 6 months now, you know.
To me it was like we had all that good psychological, like The Shining and The Exorcist and all that, The Omen, and then we got like the Facts of Life and all the PSA 80s shows, and that just wiped out everything. I think it was the 80s that killed a lot of stuff.
That was the best though, like, because All in the Family could do that. Like All in the Family would be like serious and funny, but they had the greatest cast, right? And then other shows try to do it, you know. So like Fresh Prince, like somebody brings a gun to school, and then like Will Smith suddenly has to act. You know? Or you like Facts of Life? I think someone like abducted Natalie or something crazy. Or
Dudley got fingered by Gordon Jump, and
she's obsessed with Dudley's finger.
Yeah, remember? Sorry.
Was Gordon Jump the bicycle repairman?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I forgot that it was Gordon Jump. Oh my God, he could have never got cast again after that.
No, that like launched his career.
Then he went and he ran a radio station in Cincinnati.
You could have done that back then. You could be a pedophile and run a radio station right after. Nobody says anything.
I think that's still.
Hey, Weens.
Yeah?
Guess what?
What?
We are sponsored by pinkpearlbeauty.com today.
Hot dog.
Yes, this is our good friend Naomi, who has the cutest shopping website. It's at PurlBeauty.com.
Pink Pearl Beauty.
This is so perfect for me right now because I'm just going to go here and go shopping for Christmas. They're the really cutest things. And she doesn't have a ton of things, but it's like she's really chosen the best of the best. So
yeah, it's very boutique. And I just want to give you the emblem, which is, it calls to me, is a skeleton with a bow. And it's got some pink and some dark. So it's, you know, it's called A Little Punk, A Little Pretty, which is perfect in that symbol. And we have a lot of like pajama lounge sets that are cool with really cool animal prints. And then
I love the kimono.
Oh yeah, there's a kimono, there's a fedora, and there's also a lot of makeup and skin products. So there's charcoal masks and volumizing Hello.
Yes.
Lash and brow serum. And a cool spa headband, cheetah print. Wow.
You know what I got? The satin pillowcase, because this is what you're supposed to do to not have all crumply, horrible hair and wrinkles in the morning. So I'm going to try out the satin pillowcase.
Ooh.
I just love it. And I trust Naomi because she is a makeup artist. She's an eyebrow artist, and she's always had a great sense of style with hair, makeup, clothes.
She really did.
since-
She stood out among all your friends as having like crazy style back in the day.
Yeah.
So
She's
I
so
trust her.
cute, so fun, so cool. And she's doing this for a good cause. And she's a woman with children. And this is supporting a really great person. So please, everybody, go to pinkpearlbeauty.com, enter Mouse and Weens 20 at checkout, and you will get 20% off your order. And we will put a link on our website too, mouseandweens.com, but it's Pink Pearl Beauty, Mouse and Weens 20 for 20% off.
Woohoo!
Oh my God.
She's like,
All right, wait.
Joelle's getting mad.
No, I'm just thinking back to you're saying 70s and 80s. And I remember I'm taking back my statement that I saw my first movie at 16. I actually saw over at Dawn A. Strike's house. I saw Salem's, another Dawn, a girl, Salem's Lot. Salem.
Oh,
And
that
that
movie's-
messed with my brain. I could barely go to my own grandfather's funeral. I was pretty sure he was going to sit up in the coffin.
did he?
And yeah, there was a little boy that sat up in the coffin. No, Grandpa did not. Grandpa Al was down. But then I saw Children of the Corn, and it messed me up. But tell me about your experience watching movies. Why do you like them?
Salem's Lot is a great first example, though, because that movie made the whole country pee its pants at once. Like that movie's still scary. The floating kid scratching on the window. Yeah.
She used to sleepwalk and come in my room and scratch on the wall and not remember it.
Oh,
I'm single.
that's not a red flag.
No.
Now, do you think that horror movies are well? I want to hear your story. Let's hear what you saw first and how it went.
We were always movie people. We always watch movies incessantly and still do. Like my whole family. I was into stuff before that, horror movies, but Phantasm is the first movie I ever saw where I watched it. My brother taped it off of the CBS late night movie, and he even he cut the commercials out of it, which was great, and he did a good job. And we were poor, dirt poor. I still have some of the dirt, but and we were also, though, one of the first people to have a VCR in our town. One rich kid had, like VCRs came and people were like, ooh, Pete's got a machine. He hits a button and he watches Star Wars. It's like when they give the beads to the Indians, like Star Wars in your house. And people are like, what? And, but my brother worked a summer job and he got like a gigantic behemoth, like 3/4 pneumatic top loader. The tapes were like literally like the phone book. But we had a VCR before, everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just taping stuff off TV, and he taped Phantasm, and I watched it the next day, and I've never done this ever. When it was over, I got up and rewound it and watched it again.
Wow.
Like immediately. And then I watched it like 100 more times since.
Why is that one? Because that's a lot of people's all-time favorite. So why would that be as a horror novice?
It's just so different. It's like the Angus Scrimm, the tall man, the villain in it, described it as the Wizard of Oz of horror movies, which is a great description because it's unique, because it's like funny, but it just has like one idea after another. Like it has more ideas than like 10 normal movies, or like the whole Friday the 13th franchise, which basically had one idea, guy in a mask. Phantasm, that's like the first 10 minutes has more ideas than it.
Wow. And that's where we went every Christmas with Dee, was to the Dunsmuir house. And that's where the biggest location is, right? The house up north.
Yeah. But that's also another fantastic movie is Burnt Offerings. The whole movie was shot at that house.
Wow.
Inside and out. The entire movie's on that property. Phantasm is just the funeral home. And also James Bond sleeps there in the worst James Bond movie, the one with Christopher Walken.
Oh.
That in San Francisco. What the heck is that thing called? But it's just like an establishing shot.
Yeah.
But I
That's a
love
great
that.
house.
Not, it sucks because they don't have the budget anymore and they're like not taking care of it. So it's starting to look a little, it's kind of falling apart.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, but I've been there tons of times. Did you ever go there for the Easter egg hunt?
Did we?
I remember going there at Christmas. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
they would do it all up, and
Went at Christmas. I should have, but
it was very Dickensian. I remember it just being like,
yeah.
All I
Christmas Carol.
remember is everything was real dark, and we were walking around, and there was a pond, and I thought it was just like shiny, wet ground, and I stepped in it with my fancy shoes and socks and went right into the pond. That's my memory of it.
You thought it was shiny wet.
Yeah, I thought they just hosed down part of the sidewalk and just kept walking, and walked right into the shallow little koi pond right up to my knees.
You're always falling in ponds. I've noticed this about you.
That reminds me of the first day I had Alice Cooper, my bulldog. We were sitting outside and she was walking toward us. She had been in this backyard her whole life, like had never seen anything. So she's walking toward me and walking toward the pool. And we're like, oh no, she's not going to. She walks into the pool, doesn't know that a pool, much like yourself, is a different surface than the rest of the planet. And she just plumped. There was no attempt to swim. It was just
a lead bulldog.
That's me. I'm Alice Cooper, the lead bulldog.
But I dove there with my clothes on and I caught her before she hit bottom.
That's a good daddy.
She had short little legs. That was hard to swim.
Yeah, there was no swimming. Yeah, so that was day one. It's a responsibility. Talk about having your kids and deciding whether they can watch Driller Killer. At least they know what pool is.
Yeah. So tell me, do I have any foot to stand on here? Should I worry about them watching any of this stuff? Or is it completely, they can dissociate, it's all pretend, and they're going to be just fine?
I think I have to think about them being younger because that seems very old to me. But I guess it's not, because it's just like everything else. There's kids who can handle stuff when they're young and kids who can't. So, and you can usually tell, but the thing about horror movies too is it's like, if they're into it, well, that means they're into it. So if you don't have to worry about it, like, my nephew just watches Lord of the Rings over and over and over and over,
Mm-hmm.
Which
I think we have one Harry Potter nephew and one slasher film nephew.
Mm-hmm.
So one of her kids is super into it, and he's like, Mom, come on. And I think he secretly watches it at his friends anyway. But it's the idea is like, do you as a parent drink a beer with your kids at home to keep them safe, or do you let them just go do it out in the world, I think?
That I never understood. Yeah. But yeah, the beer thing I don't get. Like I don't really know what a horror movie is. Yeah, I guess if they know, as long as they have been taught that, which many people haven't, particularly now, increasingly in this country, that, there's the TV and then life is whatever is not on the TV screen. The parts around the screen are the parts to be concerned with, but also don't accept as truth anything inside that rectangle.
Yeah, and computer will say.
Well, that's even worse because talk about, you could just straight up head for the serial killer sites, try or Nazis or, anything.
Yeah.
So that's probably where I should be more concerned, not the thrillers and stuff like that. Well, yeah, I guess so. I mean, and he has been a kid, the older one, who has always been attracted to the villain. Since he was a little tiny boy, he would draw the bad guy. And
Julianne's his favorite aunt.
Yeah. And then Julianne did take us to the set of The Rookie recently, and we got to watch them dig up some bodies. And
it was a serial killer episode. Very frightening.
Yeah, and they got to see the props. And so even little Charlotte, 9 years old, is touching the dead body that they had just exhumed and, going, oh, it's made out of rubber and it's pretend. So
I think that helps.
I don't think you'll grow up to be a serial killer, but you might grow up believing one that police solve shit,
Right.
Yeah.
And do that. They have these offices with like screens and all this technology and shit, and also that that's all they do is chase down serial killers, where really they very seldom catch them, because most of the time those killers are killing people on the fringes that nobody's looking for anyway.
You were going to ask something, and also, should we get the movies that you would say, like, recommend to?
Yeah, I was hoping you could give me a starter set of horror for the faint of heart, the lighter side of horror for me, because I feel like I'm listening to you guys talk. It's like another language to me. I have no interest in any of this. I like the light. I like the funny.
But if we could do a family movie, I said Scream because, of course, I was in the video store scene. But we just interviewed W. Earl Brown, who was in Scream, as the cameraman. I thought that was kind of a light, nice movie, right?
Yeah, but very like referential to other movies, you know. Like I would say George C. Scott and The Changeling, which is a movie. That's the movie I would recommend to like non-horror people because it's very traditional. But that movie's also scary. You know The Changeling, right, Julianne? George C. Scott in the haunted house.
You talked about it, and I tried to watch it. It was too scary to watch alone. I'd have to be with the group.
You guys should watch that together, and then you can talk about it.
Is it psychologically scary?
Yeah, it's a ghost movie, so.
What about Poltergeist? It's got a kid in it. Is that?
Yeah, Poltergeist, but Poltergeist is fun. Poltergeist to me is like Gremlins. You know, it's more like a haunted house. Like, so that's a no-brainer. Like, yeah, that's
Really?
like
Okay.
teenage, you know, fun. So, but you guys should watch The Changeling together because it would be really interesting to see you react to it. You know, because it does work. It's very traditional.
You've talked about that a lot as loving that one, and what makes you love it so much.
I have a shirt somewhere. It's a straight up traditional ghost story. It's supposed to be a true story too. You know, it's that, The Shining, and The Haunting. The Haunting's another good one, The Real Haunting. Even though The Haunting in Hill House, that show was great. But the original like 60s Haunting, Robert Wise directed. He also directed Sound of Music, which is weird that people could do that, have those diverse careers back then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now
What about what about like Pan's Labyrinth?
That's more like a fairy tale. That's like a fantasy movie to me. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Pan's Labyrinth is not an easy movie to watch. You know,
is that a 15-year-old kind of movie in your opinion, or is that a little too much?
It depends upon the 15-year-old, but yeah, I would say it is. It's okay. It's pretty brutal in places though, but it's brutal because of the war. So like, you know, like it's like my sister doesn't like war movies, and I'm like, well, not like in war movies. You would think would be two different things. You know?
Yeah.
Her review of Full Metal Jacket was that was a great movie, and I never want to see it again.
I can relate to that. Now, I think, did Toby allude to watching Hellraiser?
Pinhead was one of his favorites.
I think he saw that.
That's real horror right there. So now he's, yay, good job, Toby.
And then he saw It, the new version.
Oh, yeah. It kind of pisses me off so much.
Why?
It's got this weird comedy in it, particularly the sequel. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with those movies. Like they're so, but that book, you know, that was like Stephen King's kind of cocaine era where he was just doing whatever.
He doesn't remember even writing it or something. Yeah.
Like those 3 Alice Cooper albums that Alice Cooper doesn't remember recording. They're all good, by the way, unlike It.
I love the commentary.
Did Stephen King get hit by a car?
He did. Yeah, a drunk guy hit him.
Yeah.
And the guy had like multiple drunk drivings. And I saw Stephen King talk live after that when he did the JFK book. I saw him talk in New Orleans. And when Stephen King does an in-store for the bookstore, they have to go rent an arena because, you know, 1,500 people come. But he was great. I thought he would be all grumpy because of that, because I had heard he was kind of fucked up for a while, as you would be if somebody ran you down, you know. Yeah. And he had a lot of physical pain, of course. But he was like dead on, like, you know, it was like the Abe Lincoln robot at Disneyland if you made Stephen King. Like he was exactly like you would hope Stephen King was going to be.
Wow. I remember also seeing Pet Sematary. Sorry to digress. And
that scared me.
That freaked me out too. And you probably because of animals, right?
That scared a lot of people because of the sister with the spine.
Yes, Rachel. Yeah. Never get out of bed again.
It made a ton of money too.
Well, now, okay. Can I just say, you are like a very sweet guy. You're a dog dad, the whole thing. Yet you love horror.
Well,
so what would you say?
Fair.
What would you say about the psychology of like why people love horror? What is it that it does for you? Why do you love it so much? What?
The number one thing I say about everything, it's like heavy metal, all rock. I mean, nothing fun is good for you. You know, like they can say all they want about like, like vegan food and all this shit. The shit's just not as good as the nasty food. And that's how everything is. Like, I'm not saying a Twinkie's good for you. I'm saying a Twinkie's a lot of fun, you know. So I particularly dislike, there's this thing now because of the guy who's pretending to be Rod Serling. I can't even think of his name.
Oh, yeah, Jordan Peele.
Where it's like, oh, this, and for some reason people get excited like that the movie has this hit you over the head social message in it. And I'm like, I just miss like the 70s when movies were just crazy. You know, like I watched a movie the other night, this guy like goes to the gas station and the woman thinks he's his dead son. So he moves into the house and then everyone else is also acting like he's the dead son. And then like the sister who was sleeping with her brother starts sleeping with him. And I'm like, see, this is what movies should be. There's no reasoning, you know, it's just to bring the noise, you know, they go to 11 70s movies. And now it's like, you can't do anything because it's like, oh, you know, it has to be
socially conscious and,
you know,
just
blood for blood's sake.
You want the fun stuff. It's just entertainment.
Well, be scary. I mean, the more you know, the less scary anything is.
Now you're empathizing with them and you're trying to figure them out.
If we knew how to stop the COVID, it wouldn't be scary anymore.
Knew how what?
If we knew how to stop the COVID-19, it wouldn't be.
Let's just keep this thing going. This is exciting, right?
That's
Edge of your seat, death. It's great. Well, thank you. I think we got, we got a few starter films we could watch immediately.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you got to watch The Changeling.
Is there anything we should stay away from that's really going to mess up someone's mind?
Yes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That has really messed you up that you just can't shake?
It's funny you should say that because I have a friend, and when I say, hey, did you watch something? I'll just name something. He'll go, I can't watch that. I need to protect my psyche. Like, I love that. But I'm like, you need to protect your psyche from, you know.
From yourself?
From Videodrome, you know. But like I use that, but I need to protect my psyche from like, you know, I don't know.
From it.
From yoga. You know what I mean? Like, I just, the things that bother my head are different than the things that bother his head.
Well, thank you, Don. Do you want to leave us with any wisdom?
And do you want to plug anything? Where can our listeners find your stuff? And what are you working on these days?
I just got a day job nonsense. But I'm happy because the world ended, so I'm happy to have an income. Trying to think. Well, I just made a zombie short film I just finished, but I'm just waiting. There's no festivals to submit to, so the festival keeps getting pushed, but that'll, look for that in 2020. They can show that at my funeral.
There we go.
And he did say he was planning on, I showed him, I had Dawn on FaceTime at your house, and I said, look at this, they have an orchard up here. And he goes, that looks like a perfect tree I'll hang myself from. Do you remember?
I said, ask your sister, her backyard is so beautiful. If I could just come up there some weekend and hang myself.
Oh my God. I am so faint of heart. I cannot handle all this, you guys. This is.
I don't know why it made me so happy. Just that idea,
Please don't. Our property value will go down.
Yes.
All right. So we should find you on. We can see you on IMDb. Do you do social media stuff?
That's all I do.
Oh, okay.
I used to put up bulldog pictures, and now I just put up vinyl.
Aww.
But
you've got some good vinyl. Porter Wagner.
Yeah. Big music fan.
I bought the little washing machine where you give the vinyl the bath. It's very satisfying.
Wow.
You're not going to believe it. It hooks to the vacuum cleaner. And then you put the stuff on it, and then you turn the vacuum on and spin it around, and it sucks all the dirt off of it.
Wow. That is cool.
Yeah. That was, but yeah, I like talking to record guys, because they're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped doing it for like a month, and I said, I'm just going to do other stuff. But
there's nothing to do.
You
can only wash so many records. Oh, we love you, Dawn. I miss you. I haven't seen you forever.
Yeah, I just when I go to Staples, I think I always text you when I'm going by your house.
I haven't been home for like 2
I'm
months.
Like, hey, I'm going by your house. It's in flames. Yeah, I just
Will you water my plants next time you go by?
I have plants right here. Wouldn't it be awesome if I just panned over and all your plants were piled in the
That would be so creepy. And my clothes are in your closet or
you
something.
take down all the curtains and it's actually at her house.
No!
I just roll away the background, you know, and there is the undone laundry, you know.
And he stands up and he's got your undies on.
Yeah, now we're talking. It seems just
that just happened. Some CNN guy was masturbating on a Zoom call.
No, I heard about this.
No,
I heard about it. Yeah.
And then men are like defending him. Well, you know,
they're like, well, everybody does it. Come on.
It's like George Costanza. If you had told me that was not allowed,
yeah.
Do
we need to tell you?
Well, you've been greatly entertaining. We appreciate your expertise and your decor and your doggy stories. And we just think you're the bee's knees. So thank you, Don Adams, horror film extraordinaire, record washer forever.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Go watch some.
Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so I think that is my list that I'm okay with. We had Phantasm. Is that what the final?
I think that might be a little bit too intense. It sounded like Poltergeist would be a first choice, no brainer, good for the kids, which I agree with. We could watch that tonight. Yeah,
my God.
Come on.
No,
You're not ready?
I'm not ready. We just got done with Haunted House. I thought that was pretty rough.
Haunted House with Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
It was scary when all the monsters were coming out of the muck for Charlotte in the crypt.
Oh, well, we don't have to have Charlotte watch it. Anyway, so that was one. Changelings was another. We'll have to look that up.
That one's scary.
C. Everett Scott? Am I wrong? George C. Scott, sorry. C. Everett Scott. What does that do?
C. Everett Cooper. F. Scott Fitzgerald. Yeah.
So that one sounded good. And then Phantasm, I want to see because that one a lot of people have said is classic, their favorite. And I'm surprised he didn't mention Night of the Living Dead because I know that's one of his favorites. All-time classic, great movies.
All right. Well,
let's go to, let me just read a couple things that our internet, the old internet says about, here's mine, moms.com, is it okay to let my child watch scary movies? Let's see what this lunatic says.
Lunatic? Wait a minute.
Well, I don't know.
Well, okay, so I was doing research too. I'm like, let's go find some expert opinions, some psychologists. And we looked up a bunch of people, and I'm starting to feel very alone in this opinion that they should not watch these. I do feel like it's going to mess with their little brains, but it seems like let's just get into it. Let's hear what some back and forth
what
are.
is your, I get it with little sweet Charlotte who likes Disney movies, who's 9, who's, little sweet, and you don't want her to go down a dark road maybe at a young age, but with the 15 and the 13.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I go to worst case scenario mom brain land, which is maybe this is going to give them ideas that they're going to want to go and, capture the neighborhood cat and see what happens when you pull the leg off or something. Is that awful? It's probably just so unrealistic, but I always go to worst case scenario. And would I be a bad parent for having given them that idea, for having given them the green light to watch the movie that gave them the idea to do the thing? It's kind of like the shooter in the synagogue. I think about his parents all the time, like just in the next town over. What are they thinking? Like, what do we do wrong? Why did our kid turn into this? Like, what could we have done differently?
But do you really think it would be because he watched a horror movie that he did that? I don't know. I would say that it would be more likely that there wasn't like communication about something deeper or some pent-up aggression or being bullied at school. I don't know with his case, but that was a lot of the...
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know in my logical brain, I guess, that won't cause that, but I would hate to have any hand of green-lighting any behaviors,
But you can't control... This is where I get it. I understand, but then, so I talked to a friend of mine who is my good friend, and we talked about this subject, and you specifically, sorry, but it was just that he had his 14-year-old nephew over, and he was saying, he's like, well, that sounds like, you're trying to control too much, that they're definitely watching these movies, you know he's watching them, and you're trying to like almost like too tight of a hold where they're going to be doing what they're doing anyway, and that might make it more taboo and rebellious anyhow to do it that way. So sit them down, talk about it, and don't make it like a shameful big taboo thing.
I know. I know. They're going to find all this stuff. They're going to do all this stuff. I guess I just don't want to serve it up on a silver platter and be like, great, let's all sit down and watch this person get murdered a million different ways. And all the older, like, you don't know nowadays. I mean, I get it with the older horror movies that, like, you know, the old Stephen King stuff, like Carrie or whatever. But nowadays, I think, like, sex gets mixed into it, too. And gender stereotyping stuff. I don't want it to be, I don't know. It just feels like it could go so deep, you know? Do you understand that? Like,
why gender stereotype? What does that mean?
Meaning, like, women are always the victims, right? It's always the sweet little girl is going on the date. Is it going to bring up boys to be like, I don't know. These are
but
all
the thing is, you talk about it, right? You have these conversations and you sit down and treat them more like adults, right? And you sit and have the conversation about, okay, well, this was dated and we don't treat people like that. And this was an old interpretation. And oftentimes they're stupid and it's written in a base way, and slasher films are kind of dumb. And then you could talk about the movie making aspect of it and make it less reality that way and more like this is a story and not real life.
Yeah, no, I know. It makes logical sense. But I guess my knee-jerk reaction is just to be like, no, not going to watch it. There's so much else out there. Let's watch that instead. And so I'm just staying away from it. It just feels like so much work, you know? Like there's so many potential ways it could go wrong.
Well, okay, so in the case of me growing up in our house, we had a nice little insulated bubble, I think. But then the second I was out, I wanted to explore all of that anyway at other people's houses. And just, I knew that I couldn't talk to mom or dad or any of them about it. So it was never going to be discussed, but I was still going to do it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So now.
Well, that's why we're having this talk. I don't want to be totally bubbled up forever. I know I need to loosen up. I just don't know how. I don't know where the line is too. So let's find out. We heard our starter movies. I do want to hear what the experts have to say too, because this is just you and I talking, not saying you don't know. You actually do. You have a great sense of this because you were a kid who would kind of go more to that side of things, and I didn't have that in me necessarily.
But we did. We both did. I think that you did too. You went and watched Exorcist.
Only because it was like a group of friends doing it, and I was always hiding behind a pillow and my hands over my eyes and peeking through one little crack, and my eyes were squeezed shut for most of the stuff. I do not like anything scary. Just never have, never will. I don't know. Books are different. Books feel like... But nowadays, I don't know if I could even do that because now it messes with my subconscious. Now I wake up in the middle of the night, every night as it is, with how many murders and plane crashes and monsters every single night, dude. At like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, I wake up with some sort of death in my brain.
I think there maybe are people that don't take it. I go subconscious too, so I realize, like, especially during the pandemic when I really got to analyze everything that I couldn't watch. Like Mindhunter, I was able to watch when I was working, when life was real busy. It was like, but now I couldn't when, I don't know. It does
real.
Something to the brain.
It does. It gets in my brain.
I start locking my doors and windows and, it does get in there. So
yeah.
But maybe some people it doesn't. To my other friends who are more bulletproof and these are just fun to them, It doesn't.
Yeah, I know. I need to get there. All right. So I am looking at Dr. Ann Jacobs, who kind of breaks it down by ages, which is good. So for preschoolers, obviously, not to watch a whole lot of movies. They need, just physical comfort, distraction when faced with a scary scene. So we can't even tell them this isn't real. They don't even understand that. So just avoid it altogether for preschoolers. Anything scary, I guess. School-age children, she breaks it down into, they have a little more logic. they can start to see some scary stuff, probably like Wizard of Oz, right? The flying monkeys, we all were scared of that. But to explain to them how unlikely a scary event would actually happen to them. So they have a little more logic. Then she gets into teenagers. This is when people are starting to say teens can actually handle more than you think they can. This is when I started to feel like maybe I'm the crazy one. But to watch them with them and encourage analyzation and question and but then talk about the messages that might be behind them all, you know. So what did you find out? That was just...
I like that. I agree much more with the sitting down and talking to them like they're more mature adults. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, doesn't matter what they think. Let's move on.
It does matter what you think. Of course it matters what you think.
All right, well, still... Okay, now, Whit Honia is an author and father of 2 boys. He wrote why he thinks it's important for kids to see scary movies. As a parent, I appreciate the opportunity to address such topics in a manufactured and clearly fictionalized environment. Kids need to know what fear feels like, even for a safe, small moment. And I would much rather they first recognize it while holding my hand in a quiet theater or living room than someplace lonely and lacking in comparisons, contrast, and overpriced popcorn. Experience with fear now will only serve better when they face the real thing. It is one more layer in the protections that we give them, and there is nothing scary about that.
So to watch with them, be there with them, hold their hand. They feel comfortable, they feel safe. Okay. I like that.
Yeah. So
now, does he give any reasons like why not to? This is what I want to. I want to find an ally, but I don't know if I have any.
Yeah, here's an ally. Okay. Kate Oliver, a licensed clinical social worker, suggests, we don't know who she is, but that there are some ways for parents to decide if their child is ready to watch scary movies. She tells parents to assess whether their child acts younger or older than their actual age. If they act younger, it may be better to let the child wait before watching anything too scary. She also suggests that if your child scares easily, it may be best to hold off on the horror movies. Because you can't unwatch the movie.
This is the thing. I got messed up watching certain movies. You know, you had Jaws when you were little, and that messed you up. But
I was like 5.
We were accidentally watching that. Although, I don't know, Dad let us watch it. He was there with us.
I'm surprised.
Dude,
It's probably because he was like, I can't get rid of these kids, so...
Well, no. Yeah, our cable got mixed up with our neighbors. And
oh, that's what it was. We weren't in the theater? We saw one in the theater.
We were at home on Fountainhead, and I remember I was either 1st or 2nd grade, because that's when we lived there, and I ran upstairs and threw myself on the bed, face down, stomach down, and put pillows over my head, and, you know, just couldn't handle it. And I think you stayed and watched the whole thing, maybe, with Dad.
Probably drooling like the Clockwork Orange. But also, my parents, I remember they were watching The Elephant Man, and they said, you can't come down here. You have to stay up. This is too scary. So what do? Of course, I creep down when they start watching it, and I sat on the top of the stairs and watched the whole movie, and it got to the part where the Elephant Man shows his face. I was like, and ran back upstairs, and that messed me up for a long time.
And this was the original Elephant Man, the black and white. Yeah. So disfigurement, I know. I have a friend whose son gets real wiggy when he sees disfigured.
I couldn't watch. I never watched Mask because of that.
Really? Yeah, same thing.
But I do see the value. I had to push through it. You know, granted, I was probably 25 at that time. But, you know, there might be a value in talking it out. Did they ever talk to you about these horror, like Jaws or anything?
Not that I remember.
Because if you talk it through, say it's fake. The thing is that I was swimming in my friend's pools for the next 10 years thinking a shark was going to attack me.
Yeah, weren't we all the kids of the 70s and 80s, weren't we all afraid of the drain at the bottom of the pool and the ocean, of course?
And I think there's an article about why Jaws fucked up. Like,
really?
A huge amount of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we're all afraid of sharks. And so
and
maybe
we have
there's
Shark
something.
Week. We're all making, you know, movies and TV now. And
my ex still jokes about me sitting at Shark Week, and he could do. I would be so glued to it, and he would come up and scare me like he was a shark, and I would go wah. And he's like, "What? You're on your couch. Like, how could you?" You're not in the water. There's no.
Yeah.
But anyway. So maybe that's how much. Maybe it's a brain thing of when you get really into the fiction of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, you might have a point that maybe people think they can handle it, but secretly.
I mean, I know I need to loosen up, and maybe this is the year we try. So since we've been talking about Scream so much with W. Earl Brown, and they want to see your scene, your big background scene in the video store of the first Scream movie, and that is such a keystone movie for this genre, right? The modern, horror movies. And what's the word you guys use? All you cool kids use? Very meta, because it's a horror movie about horror movies, right? But then, like he was saying, the kids should know what they're referencing. So go watch the Halloween and go watch the Nightmare. Yeah, so I don't know.
I think start with Poltergeist. I feel the same, that's probably the most benign.
Okay. All right. Well, this is the year, I guess. Oh, my God. I can't
It'll be
believe
fun.
it. Oh, I'm scared. Well, we have to go park Charlotte somewhere safe, and then we can watch it with the boys. All right?
Tonight's the night.
Will you help me? Will
Yeah.
you watch it with us?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay.
This is exciting.
All
Happy
right.
Halloween, everybody. So why don't we have, if anyone could write in about what you're doing for Halloween during the quarantine for, I don't know when we're putting this out, but it's before
We got to
Halloween.
go before Halloween. We got to quick edit this together, and we'll get, any opinions. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll put out all the polls there. And maybe you guys can just reply to the questions in the polls about what are you doing with your kids and horror movies? What have you seen? What scared you as a kid? I want to know all the stuff.
Yeah,
I feel
I love
very
this.
alone over here, you guys. Don't let me feel alone.
She needs some parenting tips. Let's get a parenting poll.
All right, yeah. The mouse
This
is
is
a
a lot of-
scaredy cat. Scaredy cat mouse over here.
That's all right.
I need to get over my fears. And a very special thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/mouseandweens. These folks have been supporting us for months, and we so appreciate it. It gives us the gusto
The
to
chutzpah.
keep going. Yeah, we really do. We do it for you guys, knowing that you see value in us and we see value in you. So thank you so much. If anyone else wants to join us, patreon.com/mouseandweens, and come get all of the good swag and goodies and extras. We put in bloopers, bonus features, extra videos. Before, I already published stuff on episodes that aren't even out yet. So these folks have the word before it even happens. All right,
All right,
you
everyone,
guys.
signing off. Happy Halloween.
Halloween. Halloween.